the early 19th century, an event occurred that would forever change the world's climate. Welcome to the story of Mount Tambora's eruption in 1815 and the year without summer. Mount Tambora erupted with unimaginable force, releasing massive ash clouds into the atmosphere, which would trigger one of the most unusual climate events in history. This eruption led to the year without summer, where temperatures dropped across the globe, causing crop failures, food shortages, and a worldwide climate chaos. This volcanic event didn't just affect local regions, it altered weather patterns worldwide, marking a pivotal moment in the history of climate science. Understanding Tambora's eruption helps us grasp how volcanic activity can have far-reaching consequences on the climate, and it's still relevant today as we study climate change. Stick around as we dive into the dramatic effects of the eruption and how it reshaped the world in ways you might never have imagined. Let's dive into the eruption of Mount Tambora in April 1815. This event would forever change the course of history, not just for Indonesia but for the entire planet. This eruption was catastrophic. The island of Sumbawa, where Mount Tambora stands, was devastated by pyroclastic flows, ashfall, and explosions. Entire villages were destroyed, and thousands lost their lives. Mount Tambora's eruption reached a volcanic explosivity index of VEI 7, one of the largest eruptions ever recorded. This scale is used to measure the intensity of volcanic eruptions. The eruption released an enormous amount of ash, around 100 cubic kilometers, into the atmosphere, enough to affect global weather patterns. This monumental eruption set the stage for the year without summer. But we're not quite there yet. Let's explore the consequences of the eruption's atmospheric effects next. Now, let's dive into the atmospheric effects of Mount Tambora's eruption. The huge explosion sent volcanic ash and aerosols into the stratosphere, changing the Earth's atmosphere in ways we're still studying today. These particles lingered in the stratosphere, blocking sunlight and causing temperatures to plummet worldwide. The Earth's average temperature dropped by about 0.4 to 0.7 degrees Celsius. The scientific reason? The ash and aerosols formed a reflective layer in the atmosphere, which bounced sunlight back into space, preventing it from warming the Earth. This drastic cooling, though seemingly small in temperature, triggered widespread weather disruptions and played a major role in the chaos that followed. This global chill set the stage for the year without summer, creating a ripple effect that would change the course of history. Now, let's look at how this cold snap impacted weather around the world. It's now 1816 and the world is experiencing the aftermath of Mount Tambora's eruption. This is the year that would be forever remembered as the year without summer. In the Northern Hemisphere, summer temperatures dropped dramatically. Across Europe and North America, it was like summer never arrived at all. The strange cold led to crop failures all over the world. In North America and Europe, farmers saw their crops freeze in midsummer, causing widespread food shortages. This wasn't just a bad summer, it was a global crisis. A chain reaction of famine spread across the Northern Hemisphere from Europe to North America. As crops failed, food prices soared, and famine took hold. Entire regions were gripped by hunger and economic hardship, and societies were thrown into turmoil. This unprecedented global cold snap forced entire populations to adapt in ways never seen before. From the collapse of harvests to food riots, the year without summer reshaped societies. And that's the profound impact of Mount Tambora's eruption on weather. But how did this cold spell affect art, culture, and the way people saw the world? Let's explore that next. Now, let's turn our attention to the social and economic fallout from this global catastrophe. With crops destroyed and food scarce, the world faced widespread starvation and poverty. As food shortages spread, many people were forced to leave their homes, migrating in search of better conditions. Entire communities moved across borders, driven by desperation. This widespread displacement and economic hardship contributed to deep social unrest. Food riots broke out in cities, and tensions ran high across Europe and North America. As the cold crisis dragged on, it also helped fuel political movements and the early stirrings of industrial revolutions. People began to demand change, seeking solutions to prevent future disasters. The economic, social, and political ripples from the year without summer were far-reaching. It changed the course of history, setting the stage for the world we live in today. We've seen how Mount Tambora reshaped weather patterns, but did it also affect art and culture? Let's find out. This was a time of eerie gloom and deep reflection, where creativity was sparked by disaster. The eruption of Tambora inspired some of the most iconic literature of the century. In 1816, during the so-called Year Without Summer, Mary Shelley conceived her famous novel Frankenstein, influenced by the gloomy atmosphere and endless rain. The cold, damp summer drove artists and writers to explore themes of horror, isolation, and human nature. Shelley's Frankenstein emerged as a reflection of humanity's struggle in a world thrown into chaos. Beyond literature, the chilly atmosphere also inspired artists. The cold, misty world found its way into paintings, creating a haunting sense of the sublime, a landscape that was both beautiful and terrifying. The Year Without Summer wasn't just a natural disaster, it was a cultural turning point. It reflected in literature, art, and how society viewed itself in relation to nature's uncontrollable power. And now, as we reach the final chapter of our journey, let's look at how modern science views the eruption of Mount Tambora and the Year Without Summer. Today, the eruption of Tambora helps scientists better understand the role volcanic eruptions play in climate change. These explosive events can release massive amounts of ash and gases into the atmosphere, causing significant global cooling. Mount Tambora's eruption is considered one of the key events in shaping climate change research. By studying the long-term effects of Tambora, scientists have a clearer understanding of how volcanic activity influences global temperatures, which is crucial in today's debates on climate change. In fact, the eruption taught us vital lessons about the Earth's climate system. As we face modern challenges like global warming, the lessons from Tambora remind us of how powerful nature can be and how closely linked human societies are to the environment. Now, if you've enjoyed this deep dive into history and science, don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support helps us create more amazing content on the most intriguing stories from our planet's past. And we'd love to hear your thoughts. How do you think events like Tambora shape our understanding of climate change today? Drop your comments below, and let's discuss.